There it is. Hey.
The party has arrived.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
it's
in
true.
time.
We're kind of lame. Where's your Band of Bards shirt?
Oh, fuck.
Oops.
Dang it. It's upstairs.
That's okay. I wasn't thinking either. I had
We're
it.
live.
Yes.
People can hear us.
We are live. This is the Band of Bards Comics Chat. I'm Tim, joined by the Coins of Judas team with Travis Gibb, Jerome Gagnon, right? I forgot I should have checked them with you first.
Yeah, actually, it's pronounced Gagnon.
Gagnon?
It's fine.
I figured I was probably slaughtering it a little bit. We had like the wrong accent on it, but
yeah, it's not. It's a tough one.
Gagnon. It's not that tough. It's like you got to hear it once.
Yeah, the GN in French is pronounced like the Spanish N.
Okay.
So
Easy enough. I mean, I failed all those languages in school, but I can at least read them. And we got Tyler Carpenter typing away.
What up?
Do you pronounce that carpentry? How do you...
It comes from its roots, Jesus. So like, you know, just depends on what floats your boat.
So when they say Jesus was a carpenter, that was just his last name.
Well, yeah. I mean, I always tell people, I go, yo, I mean, if the savior of the world didn't work out for him, he always had a fallback plan. You should too. All right, I've shared the link out to my peeps.
Peeps. I'm seeing if we're live on YouTube.
I'm just filling my tank with some Halloween candy. I'm not gonna lie. 9 o'clock is when I typically start hitting my wall on Fridays. So this will be interesting tonight.
Well, live it up. I mean, we've got Tyler here. He's the life of the party. He can't get excited. We got a great book to talk about.
Hold on, we'll set the mood.
Yeah, bring the music.
I don't. There's not my stream yard. Otherwise, I would. I totally would hit the button for some hip hop music. I'll be drawing some Coins of Judas pages right now because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages left, and I have to get them done by Sunday for personal reasons. So I'm pumped. The page I drew today at my lunch break, it's so good. It's so good. It's a very fun book.
I have so many people is just saying like they love the concept of it before they even start to talk about the art. So like that's always a good sign, right? When I'm like, usually the art sucks somebody in right away and they talk to that, and then they get to, oh yeah, the story's kind of cool too. But like everything about this book is just hook, line, and sinker, grabbing people's attention.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm excited about it. I actually had a meeting with a movie producer that wants me to do this is probably not the proper time to say it, but yeah, whatever. A movie producer I'm doing a comic with, and he was like, hey, is it optional? Can we talk about that? I was like, oh, I guess. You know, I don't know I need to do more research on him and what level of producer he is, whether or not we even humor that. But it was a nice conversation. And that's much like nice. Before I even showed him Tyler's art, he was just like, that concept, let's talk about it.
Hey, I said yes to doing the book before even reading the script or having a script. Travis just said, hey, it's called Coins of Judas. And I'm like, okay.
Well, it was called Children of Judas, remember?
That's true. Children of Judas. Yeah, and I was like, okay.
And I haven't even agreed to anything.
I was like, and we got Jerome, and Jerome's like,
yeah, we're doing this. Okay, fine, cool. Let's do it. Yeah.
Jerome's an Orange Cone guy, so he follows along if we're doing it.
Yeah. You say yes.
We're doing it now.
What would you do, Jerome, if I came out with a book and it didn't have your name on it? Like you just randomly on Kickstarter I posted.
It's a different letterer.
Right.
That sure would sound weird.
Would you be sad? Would you be like? Well, like would you be like Like,
not knowing
are they
about it,
nice? Are they nice to be with? And Travis be like, they're different.
doing it in secret like that? Yeah, sure. I'm a big fan. But well, if he comes to me and said I'm gonna do a book, but I'm gonna do it with someone else, I don't understand.
Nah, Jerome. It's you've done so much stuff with Travis. You at this point can go, oh, you whore. Just you freaking whore, Travis. Sorry, Tim. I don't know you very much. I don't have a filter.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, there's no rating on this. So,
perfect.
but that's cool. I mean, it tells me you've never watched before. Gosh, no, Drum's done some other work on Band of Bards books too.
See, this is the problem. We just went through this whole spiel. I would never cheat on Jerome, but Jerome apparently has no issue just working with anybody. He didn't clear it through me. I have to clear it through him or he'll be offended, but he can just work with somebody. No big lift. What are you doing? Are you doing that Hush Ronin book? Because I'm super excited about it.
No. I did one or two short stories in the from the Static.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Tyler and I weren't good enough to be in that book.
They're good, actually.
We submitted and we got a decline. So.
I know you got totally snubbed from the anthology and ended up making just a comic series.
See, you're looking at the positive. We're looking at the negative. We were snubbed.
Yeah, we were snubbed. You need to be in the you're clearly not in the Twitter sphere of comics. It's all about the outrage that you can build. That's how we sell stuff. We go, oh, Coins of Judas. Oh, we got snubbed and we couldn't do Coins of Judas, and then people are gonna go, oh, that's jacked up, and we rally, and then we go, don't worry, we pressured the publisher. Now we have 2 issues, and they'll go, now we'll buy the book. We're like, thank you.
Yeah, that's my Canadian brain that can compute that 8.
Yeah. Just so you know, Tim, we're only paying Jerome for 8 pages because that's what he agreed to. So
that's the
he's
exchange
gonna have to
rate.
figure out the rest.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh man, see, that's the thing about having grown up in Buffalo, right, is that like that was something that you just knew. Like every single day, the local news is reporting what the exchange rate was for that day, and you're like trying to plot out when's the best time for me to go across the border and buy all my hockey gear for the season.
Well, it's always a good time to go out of the border because it's a lot less expensive. It's the exchange rate is all for you.
Yeah. But I'm old enough to remember when you could just drive straight across and didn't need a passport.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, if you're watching this, make sure you leave comments. We want to hear from you guys.
Yeah, I never remember to tell people that.
Oh yeah, it's live. It is
live.
Not just the 4
Yeah,
of us.
we got Richard Kemp here. I mean, the Richard Kemp, he gets shit done.
Don't worry, we'll show you how we'll show you how to run a YouTube show.
No, I just
Tired.
End of the week. This is always like, you fit things in, you do them when you can do them, but this is always like a trying thing at the end of the week. It's like, oh, I gotta do the live stream. I have to like somehow perk myself up and get excited to be sociable, when really all I want to do by like 8 o'clock on a Friday is go to sleep. So now that I killed the show.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the origins? We can talk about that a little bit. We talked
Origins are always good. Yeah. So I guess I should ask some questions and have some prompts for you guys. But no, that's right. We already kind of mentioned it. This came in initially as a pitch for From the Static anthology. It was a really intriguing idea of trying to figure out or build a story around what happened to all those pieces of silver after Judas threw them away. And he came up with like a really kind of creepy idea of street urchins gobbling them up and becoming demons.
Yeah, well,
Wasn't good enough
actually,
though for the anthology.
No.
Well, I will tell you, I don't know if Tim, you may not know this, but this is a twice rejected. So I originally wrote this concept for the Mad Cave version.
Okay.
Of it. Hey, Dan. I am also excited about Coins of Judas. What comic store are you ordering it at? That's what we need to know. Or are you ordering it on the Band of Bards website? But yeah, so I submitted it to the Mad Cave, and it was a Wolvenheart story, and then I retooled it to write it for yours. That's when I told Tyler randomly, I was like, "Hey Tyler, I'm submitting this anthology. I put your name on. Is that cool?" He's like, "How many pages is it?" 9. All right, I'll commit to 9.
That's true.
Thing from Another World. Where is that? I'm gonna have to Google search them real quick and see who they are.
They're like the third largest comics retailer in the country.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
Thing from Another World. All right, comics and collectibles. Oh, I recognize that logo. Okay.
Yeah, big outlet, lots of locations.
Is that the company where some people? Oh, and look, Hush Ronin is right on the top of the page.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, they seem to like somehow sync all the preview solicits just straight to their page somehow.
Yeah. There's if you buy a certain what is it called? POS system.
Yeah.
Point of sale system. It'll tie in directly. Yeah.
Which is cool because right, we've talked about intermittently here and there, but like we're not yet included in the whole final order cutoff sections, right?
FOC?
Okay. Yeah, as a newer publisher, you start off with Diamond as a buy sell vendor.
Okay.
And after you've built up enough like I don't want to say credibility, but like a little bit of a sales history where they or Diamond feels that they can adequately like predict how many of your books are going to sell, they'll change your status to an on consignment, and then those on consignment vendors are ones who are listed in the FOC. So like when you have comic shops that a lot of times will only blast out like the little FOC each week to their subscribers and all that, and some will just only look at that week to week to do their ordering.
Right.
They miss out on all the other publishers that are listed with Diamond, because if you just go to the main catalog and you hit that drop down to see all the publishers, I mean, there's so many. But Band of Bards is the first one in the B section.
Nice.
Yes.
I wonder if there's like any strategy to that, like being like, oh, but we're gonna be an indie publisher. Let's whatever it is, it has to start with an A.
Yeah, like
Just
A1 Comics, right?
Yeah. There is that real?
I think that's one, but like,
Are we not a Band of Bards instead of Band of
Yeah.
do you ever see the movie The Accountant?
Yeah, Ben
Right?
Affleck.
And they talk about how they don't understand why he would name his company like ZZZ Accounting, and like unless you're trying to bury it in the listings.
Oh. Yeah. See, I'm watching it to be entertained, and you're like, so this is how I get away with shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm taking notes.
Well, I mean, Diamond's probably like the last place where a catalog letter matters, right? Where you'd be in it. And then half the people, like you said, don't even use the catalog. They use FFC to do all their orders or initial orders. So that's crazy that you got to think of that. In fact, I know a store that I'm actually, because you told me that, I'm going to have to make sure that they order because I know they're an FOC store.
Yeah. Yeah, we have one of our local stores. Like I just popped in to visit him last month, and he's like, "Oh yeah, what's your books, man? I thought you were gonna be." I'm like, "We are." You got to stop looking at just the FOCs, man. That's okay. We straightened that one out. But
Nice.
yeah, it's funny, all those little wrinkles that like a lot of times you don't know that until you stumble across the problem, and you're like, "Ah, shit, how do we get around this or prevent that from being an issue again.
Yeah, that's a tough thing, and big excited for this book. Congratulations, Travis and Tyler. The Ravens lost here. That's one of Tyler's boys.
Well, what's up, Nicholas?
That's not his That's his YouTube name.
The Ravens Loft.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's his YouTube name. It's Nicholas
Thank you.
Mueller.
Nicholas, what is your local comic store that you're going to be ordering this at? That's what we want to know.
Travis, I don't pressure my friends to buy my stuff.
I do.
Yeah. That's what I'm here for. I'm the publisher.
Yeah.
Where are you buying the book from?
There we go. what he said.
The other guys are here to be friendly. I just want to know where you're buying the book.
Right.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about.
No, we're super excited. We just finished the first edits of the book. The lettering got finished. Was it early this week or was it Monday? Yeah, it was Monday. We edited it all week. Even skipped it above Green State Punk, which is my next book. Raven, my store barely orders anything outside of DC, Marvel, and getting boom from them is hard as hell. That's why you got to specifically ask for Coins of Judas. You only got to get 2 issues. It's $10. It's not bad. It's way cheaper than Kickstarter.
And you don't have to pay extra for shipping.
What is the exchange rate for the Coins of Judas? Just ask him.
It's like 1 coin per life, eternity in hell. So take your pick.
Actually, in the book, we'll give you an answer. Each coin represents a demon, and that demon was paid for some sort of sin. So whether it be a massive, and the worst sins up to that point. So whether it be prostitution, whether it be slavery, all those things were bought with these coins, and they represent a demon that's associated with it. So there's 30 demons that we're going to create. Each one will have its own thing. One of the things that I learned while doing this process, which is kind of cool. So when the Pharisees were taking coins in, like as a church, they would sanctify every coin to make it holy, because that's kind of their thing. But when they would pay out to non-Jewish members, they would unsanctify the coins. So that's going to be a big part of our story, is how you sanctify and unsanctify a coin.
I was gonna make a joke, but current climate. don't want to pull a Kanye on the band of Bards.
Definitely don't want to. Right now, it's not the time for any of those jokes with Kanye around.
Travis, make that joke on my channel though, and I'll do it. Yeah, no, and in this book, I think we feature 1, 2, 3. We feature 4 demons, 5 demons.
There's 5 demons in the book, and then there is 1 in a flashback.
5 demons.
6 total.
Yes. Yeah, and it's cool. I'm in this part right now. It's like what I liked about Coins of Judas was like issue 1, like a lot of setup with the characters, and then issue 2 we did a lot of Travis did a lot of setup with the world. And so with issue 1, we're really focusing on the relationship between this brother and sister. The sister has just gotten out of jail, and her brother picks her up from jail, and she doesn't really want anything to do with the family. And so you're just like, man, like, what's the deal? What's the relationship? What does she hate? And we don't like get super into it, but you can tell there's like, she doesn't like that her family's been hunting demons. Like, it's really taking a toll on her. And then, but it's one of those things where it's like, she's been doing this her whole life. And then this opportunity comes up, and she's like, "Oh well, while I'm here, we might as well do this." Only to find out that while she was in jail, her brother was kind of doing some other stuff with these coins, and he's kind of in this pickle. And she's a really strong character, so she's kind of just like, "Are you freaking kidding? Like, are you freaking kidding me that we're in this mess?" So then at the end of issue 1, you really see the culmination of this mess in the final page, and you as the reader and me drawing it, I'm just like, oh crap, like what have you done? So like, what's cool about issue 2 is now the issue 2 that I'm drawing right now is, it's the resolution Well, it's not really the resolution because how Travis set up is we're only getting started in fixing the problem that the brother has created in issue 1. But the world of Coins of Judas. I had a phone call to Travis. He's like, "How should we end this? We can either go this way, hard stop, or we can just open the gates." And Travis is telling me like all the coins represent a demon. I've done all this research, and I just got so excited. I'm like, "Open the gates! Open the gates! Let's do this." And it's a cool world. I was laying in bed the other night, and I was like, "What if there was a story where?" I was thinking of pirate ships. I don't know why. And I was like, and they have to go against these pirates because they find out that one of the pieces of 8 is a coin. Is a coin, and I just got super excited because this world is just so big. You can do so much with it. So very excited to do this series, guys.
There's 2,000 years in which you can play. So
yeah, it's true. It's true. Well, Travis, do something in the Old Testament and really just ruin this all. Jesus could time travel.
Well, one of the things that's cool about this story is, we only introduce so many demons in this, and then we have the opportunity, but we also have flashbacks because some of these demons were captured by the father of this son and daughter. So how did he get them? There's a lot of stories to tell that don't just resolve around the 2 main characters that we introduce in this book, which I think is fun. Just like you said, we could have a whole story series without even the family that we introduce here about pirates and how they got a coin and what that connects with everything. So there's a lot of
Well, there's also a group. There's the Order. There's the Order.
There's
I mean,
groups we mentioned.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's like what I liked about the end of the second one. I was like, I got like the Sons of Anarchy vibe. Right. We're going after the Mayans, and I know you love Sons of Anarchy, Travis. So that's why I was thinking of it.
I do. And but we're working on sales, and if sales are good, we plan on going straight into another 2. We're going to take a small break, and then we're going to go straight into another 2, and we're going to do a trade in between that will kickstart. So there's a lot of cool stuff we've got ideas for, but we need, the Bards to come together. The band.
Do you guys see how giddy we are about this series? If we're this giddy about what stuff that we haven't even begun making, we need your help to make this one the beginning of this story happen, so that we can then get giddy about this story, and then who knows, 5 years we're like, do you remember when we did that pirate story? And then Disney picked it up.
Well, one of the things that is interesting for you. So if you don't know, Tyler's been writing a manga called Girl with the Mega Fist for the last 2 years, right? Is it 2 years?
We're coming on 2.
We're coming on 2? All right. Which is crazy that he wrote 2 graphic novels in a year, or in less than 2 years, which is crazy. But one of the things that he commented to me the other day, he was looking through it. He's like, there's a villain, and we end at the end of a issue with like the reveal of the villain, and we don't know about him until page 2. He's like, I'm not used to doing that because I'm so in manga. Like, it's a graphic novel, it just keeps going. Like those page turns and all the stuff that you learn that you do in Eastern comics versus Western comics.
Yeah, like Girl with the Mega Fist. Here's a test copy that I did, but like each volume's 200 pages, and I draw 2 of these a year because I hate myself. And yeah, it's one of those things where I'm like, it's so like the book is so fast paced, and I'm like there's a scene right now that that I finished last week where it's like, the characters are at the table with the villain. And I'm like, this is a 12 page. This would be 12 pages in my book. And we had this really long conversation, but it's really fast paced, and it's been very interesting. There have been moments where I've read the script and I go, I need this one panel to be a whole splash. Right. So I have rearranged some stuff so that I can get some of those really cool moments. But what's been great is Travis has been really flexible. In issue 1, it literally goes from pages this to this. It just says, Tyler, fight scene, go. He's so lazy. You're paying this guy? You're gonna give him a page rate for that? Easy as 5 pages.
But yeah, how long have the 2 of you guys been working together?
Unfortunately, I've known Travis for too long.
Yeah, we've known each other since probably 2018 would be my guess. 2017 maybe. And we worked on the only thing we've done together is he did a story. He did something in Cthulhu Invades Oz, but that was all him. Like he did the whole thing.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I
Sounds like that's not so different from this book.
Me doing all of it. And then I did a backup story for broke down 4 dead bodies.
Yeah, he did.
That was the first one. So, I always say this is like to a tip for any like aspiring comic book artist is like every time I've worked with Travis, I've never even like asked about pay. Like I would have done all of the things for Travis for free. Even when he said, "Tyler, do you want to do the 7-page?" I was like, I just said sure. Like, and I think that's something that we talk that's like shunned in the community is like, oh, don't do free work and stuff. But I've done a lot of free work for people, and every time I've done free work for someone, it's always come back in a positive. In some way, whether it happens in a year or 2 years. I mean, I did like a 3-page story for someone once. They were just like, "Hey, I'm in a bind. My artist just canceled. Can you do this for 3?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll just do it for you for funsies. I like I like you. I like your story." Did the 3 pages. 2 years later, he goes, "Hey, I have a 10-page story that you can do." He paid me really well, and so I really think if you are very pro the community, and if you go, hey, like I really believe in Travis, like I see what Travis is doing, and I'm like, yeah, I'll do a 7-pager because at some point, or a 3-pager or a 2-pager. I know at some point, maybe he's like, oh, I have a story that would fit Tyler's style, maybe he'll choose me. And he'll choose me, and then we'll, So I always think if you put out good to people, you'll get good back.
Well, there's definitely a balance with that, right? Like, if you keep putting yourself out there to do a bunch of free work, and sometimes that becomes like a magnet where people who will take advantage of that. Oh yeah, keep coming. Like, so
be smart about it. I'm not going to do it for Joe Schmo. I go, Travis has done a lot of comics, so this is someone I'm going to sleep with. I mean, work with.
But that's always the thing. Like, I probably have said this in so many different live streams. Like, if you get to that point that you've built a relationship with, like if you're an artist, you have 1 or 2 go-to writers that you love working with, and vice versa. Like, you're a writer, you've got that artist that you always go to, especially with letterers. If you have a letterer that you just know blows things out of the water with everything that you've hired them to do, why bother asking anybody else? You just always go back to that person that you work well with. Starts to like pick up on a lot of the ideas that you've got, and they understand like what you like to do in comics, so that you don't have to write so many, you're not writing 3 pages of script for every page of comic.
Jerome at this point, it's like, I believe in Travis so much, he just does it for free. And it's just, if we could get more letterers out there doing some free work for their writers, I mean, Jerome set the time.
Well, there's certainly a trust thing here, because we're working. I think we're working great together, Travis and I, and no, I believe in what he does, and I think he likes what what I do. So, and well, basically, aside from my wife and my kids, I think he's the person. I can say, beside from my wife, he's the person I talk the most in my week.
Wow. So, I thought you were gonna say besides my wife. I bang Travis.
No, I just removed the kids from the equation.
I still get confused. Like
I think I speak more often to Travis than my kids.
My wife has like got several Christmas presents from me just by talking to Jerome, and I'm always confused. I'm just like, you guys have a relationship? And they do. They talk. Jerome and my wife talk all the time. And I'm just like, am I nervous? What's going on? Their dogs are having a relationship. Like, it's weird. Yeah. They're sending each other postcards. It's very awkward. But if you don't know, Jerome is flying down to MegaCon this year in April.
Nice.
So pretty cool. So hopefully Tyler's going to fly down too, so we can sign some coins.
Maybe I'm broke.
Well, we once got you a flight to Florida, but you were like, I need to stay only certain days. I have to do professional at least. I don't do coach.
Yeah, I need first class. And I was like, oh, you guys can't run the first class, Phil. What is this? This is a joke. Delicate Art, how you doing? She says, I think it depends on the person, the project, so on. Yeah, I mean, if it's just some random Joe Schmo you don't know, then yeah, like. But gosh, Scott Snyder says, hey Tyler, I've got this backup like Batman story, but I can't pay you. Are you really gonna argue a page rate like at that point?
Well, I would be concerned why Scott Snyder couldn't pay you. That would concern me.
Yeah, that would be concerning. But that'd be concerning. You'd be like, Scott, are you okay? But yeah, I'll do it. But are you okay? But you would do it because the opportunity cost is way better than the actual money that you're playing.
Scott Snyder, but maybe not the Scott Snyder.
That's true. Someone today went on Twitter and they got verified as Tobey Maguire, and they put out they did the Spider-Man 4. All they did was tweet 4 with the Spider-Man background, and it went viral. God. And then the person went, "Oh crap!" It went viral. I was like, "Oh, it's happening!" Because it was like It was like Tobey Maguire, and then I looked. The was like a complete joke. Yeah, I could get duped by a Scott Snyder. I would be like, "Hey Scott, you don't have to pay me. I want your cell phone number and an hour every day, just to talk, and you can be nice to me."
Well, at least now those fake accounts will need to pay to be verified. So
it's true. It's true. I'm trying to raise a GoFundMe to get my $8 ready.
Not so much. I don't know. Gosh.
Nicholas says, how many issues of Coins of Judas do you guys have planned?
We have 4 planned, but the set back 2 is going to depend on you guys. It's really going to depend on you guys. So we need you to back up. But we are planning for 4 currently. Well, 2 is guaranteed because those are already covers are listed and everything. But the other 2 is up to you, the fans. If you show us that you love us, which we think you do. We've had a lot of great responses for this. We've got a lot of messages. I think it's going to be a hit. We've sold a lot of store exclusives. So if you guys are into store exclusives, we have a lot. We'll probably plan another show, probably, Tim, where we'll kind of unveil them all, right, and say where they're at.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a whole bunch of store exclusives coming down the pike. Even stuff from Tyler. Tyler's going to do one for his Patreon, which is cool.
Yeah, guys. Yeah, I'm gonna do a Draw and Talks exclusive. Nicholas, you could go to your store and go, hey, you should order Coins of Judas, and then you could do the exclusive cover for them. Right? Am I right? Did I get that right? Mm. Yes, you could do that. See, I know all the details. I pay attention. I actually don't pay attention very much, and I go, hey, Travis, can you set up my store exclusive? I don't know what to do. I'm busy drawing the book.
Well, yeah, I got to tell you, this is I talk a big game like I know a lot about comics. But when I finally got the Diamond stuff, I didn't realize like how quick these deadlines come up. Right? Like, oh, I need all the covers done by like the 18th. Oh, it's 16th. Oh shit, I need to get that cover. Like, because you're in Kickstarter world, we just when we're finished, we launch, right? Like when we're ready to launch, we launch. But it's not that way, and that's been a huge learning curve and very stressful for Jerome and I think, because we're not used to working this way, right? We're used to deadlines are very loose at Orange Cone. There, all right, we want it done in April. All right, so as long as it's done in April, we're happy. But that's
lots of things moved this year as well. We had some stuff we wanted to do Bob Van Winkle in June, I think, but at some point we're not thinking about it anymore. We thought that it would be later, and then suddenly all the art was done, so we said, okay, we just go ahead with it. And other stuff got moved ahead, and moved back, then it was crazy, and then Coins of Judas. But yeah, it was a very very exhausting
adjustment.
year, but all the in the end, it all works. It's all worth it. So
Yeah, I'm used to drawing my covers last. And Travis was like, I need this cover done like now. And I'm like, what's the problem, dude?
Yeah, it's kind of flipped around, right? Because like when you send in that solicitation for Diamond, like roughly the first week, maybe second week of the month, depending on how if it's like if the month starts on a Friday, you're looking at like the second week to send in the basic kind of solicitation information, right? Your synopsis, the specs on the book, that kind of stuff, the credits. And then like third week of the month, you got to send them whatever cover files that should be listed in the magazine. And that's really all you need to have done at time of solicitation. So like you legitimately have another like 90 days to actually finish up the book. Now,
Why are you whipping me, Travis? Get that book done.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's but you really don't, because if we don't have it, the sooner we have it ready for the printer, the easier it is, and more
Yes.
guaranteed that we're going to hit our deadline of release. It's a big
Yeah, I mean, before Tyler decided to just interrupt me and shout, you have that 90 days. You got that much time technically, but it's not ideal to wait till the last second. Just like, I'm sure Tyler never waited for the last second for his homework.
I didn't. I'm Asian. Can't do that.
But like, if you can get it wrapped up, we prefer to have something done by the time that it's going to be listed in previews, so that way we can put like a full issue together as a digital preview that retailers can go and read the whole thing as it's listed. So that way they're like, I'm not just trying to sell them the book on the cover, they can go and read the whole thing for themselves. And
Yeah, that's a struggle right now, because we don't have the final edits. I really want to call these comic stores and ask them, hey, are we considerate? Can I send you the PDF and make sure everything's ready? But we're not quite ready for that. Not that we don't have tons of time to still get that done, but figuring all that out. But I also want to thank Band of Bards too, trusting us, Orange Cone, that we can produce this, because we had this conversation. We tried to figure out where to put the schedule, because we had originally talked about even launching in March, so Tyler had tons of time to do it, and I was like, no, Tyler can do it. We can do. Orange Cone knows how to do it, and allowing us to do that. And I'm gonna make an assumption, and I apologize if I'm wrong. I don't think you would trust everybody who comes in the gate with a book who pitches to you to do that. I know you've seen how many books we produce on the Orange Cone side, so you can trust us a little bit more than others, but I assume not everyone can do that, right?
no, I mean, you guys have a track record, and that goes to show that like you are an incredibly professional team when it comes. I mean, there's a time to joke around and screw off, and there's a time to just get down to brass tacks and do the work. And like, when people can understand that designation, and you don't have to like tell them, okay, it's time to stop playing grab ass and like get to work. Like, someone can just understands that themselves intrinsically, that's always a good sign there. That like, okay, I don't have to be standing over someone's shoulders and tell them like, okay, let's make the book now. Like,
Right.
But like I said, we've certainly backed enough of the Kickstarters, and we know the quality that comes out from Orange Cone. Like I said, you got the track record. It wasn't that hard to, put the faith in you and trust you guys to deliver.
That's a
and
compliment.
This is the best art that I've ever seen Tyler do. Like, in my opinion, this is he's leveled up his style, which is weird, because he was worried when we started this. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tyler. You were worried that it would be a hard transition back to this style, since you've been doing manga for 300 pages, right?
Yeah, well, if you remember the very first page I sent, it was in manga style.
Right.
And I was like, what do you guys think? And you guys were all like, nice. And I was like, okay, I can read the message. I can read the feelings. And so being a team player, I was like, well, let me redraw page 1 in a Western style, and then we can legit compare. And when we did the Western style, it took me like double the time on that first page to like get back in the groove. But we did it, and everyone was like, "Oh yeah, we like this one," and so I was like, "Yay!" And so yeah, it was definitely a challenge. The very first majority of the first issue, actually, I was telling Travis, like, "Oh, I drew the book so slow." He's like, "You did it in like 24 days." I'm like, "Oh." Okay, fair.
That was super fast.
But I can draw up to like 40 pages of the Growth of Megafist in a month. And so yeah, drawing this has been a challenge. But the second issue, I've been working on it for like 2.5 weeks. I'm at like 5 pages left, 4 or 5 pages left. Random panels on each of those. So yeah, it was daunting at first, but yeah, I think this is my best Western styled book so far.
It looks really great. But we do see the manga influence.
There's a tiny.
Yeah. We can feel it, but I think that what makes it great and different and unique in its own way. You really nailed those pages.
Oh,
and I wrote it differently than I would my normal comic. I mean, how many page fight scene did I give you in issue 2?
Give me 5. Oh, in issue 2?
Yeah, I know I gave you 5 in thing, but issue 2 I start you.
Issue 2 starts just like it's immediate.
9 pages of fight, right?
Oh, I mean, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then that's just the beginning, and then it goes 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, so the whole second issue is very fast-paced action. Right. It's actually the second issue is action-packed as well.
That's not the way I write a comic. You get 4 pages for a fight. I got to get to my fancy words, Tyler.
F your fancy words. Show my art. No one wants those words. No, but wow, I actually didn't realize that until I started counting. Yeah, the majority of the second issue is just action.
It is a lot less wordy than it is actually most of the time.
So look what happens. And look what happens, Travis. You get a publishing deal, and then you go into Diamond. Cut the words.
So, Jerome, when they said that you were only getting paid for eight pages, that's actually because there's only 8 pages of dialogue in that second issue.
He doesn't pay for sound effects.
The rest of it, I don't know. The rest of it's just copy and paste the same sound effect.
Yeah, mostly. It's just bam. Make it work.
And then the other part of the team is Roland's, who I had worked with on doing covers, some really cool stuff. In fact, we have a Band of Bards exclusive cover that we'll announce at some point to show you guys. He's a really good cover artist, but his style is so different than I think he's what makes it a little bit more, adds a little bit of extra flavor to Tyler's work, because he's got this really dark, gritty, like kind of a crayonish style. Is that proper? Yeah, kind of a crayonish style. And I think it really gives the book a really cool vibe.
Mm-hmm. Well, I remember we were trying to find a colorist, and I think I was like, I want this flat color feel, and you showed me like 2 or 3, and then I was like, I don't know, and then you showed me Roland, and I was like, yeah, I think that's the one that's gonna the work, and yeah, it does give it that it gives it a certain aesthetic than just this typical like glam and bam comic book. It's very like unsaturated, almost like dull, the colors, but it fits the tone of the book.
Yeah, even we just issue 2, we just were like, I need more of a gun flare, and he was like, here's another toned down gun flare. No more gun flare.
But it looks great.
No, I'm actually like tooling around and the shared drive right now. I'm looking over some more of it just to. He got me curious again. I want to go back and look at some of the stuff that's been dropped off for issue 2.
Oh man! Yeah. I wish I had. I'm just lazy. I have the TIFF files. I just got to drag them into the folder.
Can you show that double page spread? Is that done?
Yeah, I can. Let me. How
Can
do
you
I
show
access
it,
this?
maybe? There's a
let me-
double page spread that Tyler killed it. How long did that take
It's
you? That was probably
crazy.
the longest page you've ever drawn, right?
Dude, I don't want to brag. That took an hour.
Oh wow.
I'm a very I don't like to tell people, but
Sure, yeah.
I'm a very they go, oh, that guy probably works 8 hours. I'm a very fast artist.
It's usually
But
20
okay,
minutes.
actually no. This one took me I think 4 or 5 hours. Because I was trying to get the line up the head. Let me put it in the folder so you guys can see it. I was trying to get the line up, and I was trying to make it so like you could feel the pain of both the brother and sister. Spoiler: they're going through something at the same time, and you get this like flashbacks of what they've gone through in their life. And I was like, oh, like there's so much lore in this page. I wanted to make sure. I actually did a couple iterations of the flashbacks until I was
Oh,
happy with them. Drive.
yeah. One of the things that I've never told Tyler, but one of the things that I do in this book, I know Tyler's a huge Batman fan.
Huge bad.
So I've added a lot of Batman influence in this. So they have special magic and runes. There's some magic in this world, and it's like a utility belt. So every panel, he's like, "Oh, look that's how that works."
Yeah, there's this cool part, man. Where and I didn't freaking upload the pages.
Like Adam West Batman, and that's why
No.
we have all the sound effects.
This issue is: are they both going through diabetes? Yes, they're both going through diabetes at the same time.
Let's see photos. I'm gonna find this. Come on. Upload. Browse. I hate doing things on my iPad. There we go. Okay, it's uploading, and it's not in an actual folder. It's just in the main
The
folder.
main
and it's
page.
called-
Okay.
and it'll just say Coins of Judas JPEG. It's almost finished.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Like Roland is just as fast as Tyler. Like Tyler would be like, "I put up 7 pages," and then the next day, Roland would be like, 7 pages are done." And I'm like, "What is going on here?"
All right, it should be in there now.
I think I got it. Let me see if I can make
Are
sure
they both
I share
going
the
through
right
diabetes?
screen. Oh no. Oh my god, don't show that wrong thing. I have too many different cover files up. I better not show the wrong one.
Yeah, it's not a cover file; it's a black and white.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, I know. I already know what kind of monitor you have, Tim. One of them wide ones.
But yeah,
Yeah, you can see this stupid amount of tabs that I keep open all the time.
That's a lot of tabs.
So yeah, she's going through a massive thing that happens at the exact same time. They both get hit with an effect that kind of does some stuff, and we get to see some flashbacks of stuff. If we get to tell some more stories of what we're going to do, which is pretty cool. Which is really cool. And I one of the things I appreciate too is I was so scared about scars on the face, because it's so hard to do those, and I think you did a great job of what they look like.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, I remember like drawing him the first time, and I was like, the first time I did it, he looked like Victor Zsasz, just like a bunch of cuts, and I was like, let's try Two-Face, like let's maybe try that look, and then I think it fits well with that top part where you see in his flashback there's this massive demon and he's holding half of his face, the skin. That's a whole story in itself.
It is.
So yeah.
Well, let's actually talk about that panel. Is for Tim.
That doesn't look like me.
No. Remember when we got all the stuff from Stan Yak for covers? He did a big giant skeleton, and you're like, "I want that cover. I want that." And I said, "Well, if you buy it, I'll make it in the issue." And there it is. That's your panel right there.
Oh boy. Thank you. See, maybe that's a little bit of a vanity thing for me. I somehow managed to get something of myself into so many of our books. like, it's just, like, I'm going through the sentience proof right now, and what are the things? Oh, come on. It's right up towards the front. And I'm not really spoiling anything here for anybody, but... So there's a big entrance to basically an underworld cave. And within that, hanging there is me and Chris.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Why don't you make yourself big so we can see it?
Oh, God. What am I doing?
Yeah, you're small.
Yeah, I'm still sharing. Oh, God.
Dead.
Get that tilted right.
Okay. Are you sure? One looks like a girl.
Yeah, the two characters there were trying to escape and were in disguise. So Chris is in a dress. I'm in, like,
Is that a novella?
yeah, this is our American light novel.
Oh no, I love light novels.
Yeah.
It's very Japanese.
Chris is a big fan of manga and anime, and he had the idea to do this title as a light novel, and I said, well, let's make it a little bit different for the American audience and supersize it with a lot more sweets and fats. So we like upped the amount of illustrations over like the average. So there's more like 20 some illustrations, and some of it's like full color. And we called it the American light novel to kind of poke fun at ourselves for needing to supersize everything. But yeah, I've been screaming at my very wide monitor quite a bit lately, just trying to get some printing specs changed on it, and the interface is giving me fits. But that's the difference between designing a book over a comic book, I guess.
Right.
But
well, this is January 1st is your biggest month, right? How do you feel? You've got a array of different stuff, from like original graphic novels to bigger books, like I think the Hush Ronin's like a 48 pager, right? It's a double-sized issue.
Yeah, that's going to come in at like 48 to 52 pages. It's funny, like Jeremiah was initially kind of like apprehensive about just getting to 40 pages, and he's like, I think I'm going to go way past that. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting month to see how some of these different things flesh out. Hush Ronin's going to be like a semi-annual publication. Much longer, kind of. It's a self-contained story, but it is an ongoing series. It's something where like, it'll be an easy thing for readers to just pick up at any point and get into it. They won't necessarily, like, if you pick up number 3, you're not going to be completely lost in the sauce because you didn't see, read number 1 or 2.
Right.
And he's doing some neat things with those covers. I think he's got it planned out so that all the different masks that he does on each cover will end up creating like a unified image or some like a real nice box set type thing.
Nice.
Yeah. It's fun having it's fun playing games with the covers and seeing what you can do, like making them connecting covers.
Right, yeah. And we've had a good run of being able to do a lot of cool stuff on our end, so I'm excited about everything. Where'd Tyler go?
He dropped a message in the private chat. He had to step away for a minute.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so with Coins, the cover A on both issue 1 and 2, there will be nice little connecting covers.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, on top of that, so what else we got going on for so this month of previews will be the stuff that's in the stores in January. Vigia, which I always have to like take an extra second to make sure I pronounce correctly. It scares me to mispronounce that one. Could go sideways pretty quick. But that's a real cool sci-fi series from C.J. Hudson. That'll be 5 issues, and it'll be like 5 and done. Like that is the full plan right there. Final Gamble number 2. And Brody Can't Be Broken, which that's our first young adult title. And it's like a 68 pager, full magazine sized. So yeah, a lot of different things going on for that month.
Yeah, it's your biggest month, right? Like getting everything out. It's you're kind of like, this is where you're going to be. And would this be the average going forward of what?
Yeah. Chris and I were chatting last night, and I actually took my big diamond chart, and I'm not going to show it, but like, but there's the back of it. Right? I have it laminated, and I use these fancy markers. Old Army thing. I used to laminate our maps and then use markers like this to write all over the maps.
Right.
And stuff. And I'm sure that there's a lot of other uses for them, but like that's what I know them for. But I was cleaning it up because my thumbprints have been smudging the ink so damn much these last few months. And I like cleaned it up the other day and started writing in some more because we announced or signed recently a whole bunch more titles, and most of them are announced, some not. But yeah, I filling them in, and I'm counting up month by month. Our goal was to have like 4 to 6 titles for the entirety of 2023, and right now we have that. We are absolutely in that wheelhouse through till August or September. Yeah, solidly until September, and I gotta find some more things to slot in for September, October, November, December 2023. But yeah, I mean, that was our intent, right? You don't want to grow so fast that you shoot yourself in the foot because all of a sudden you've overwhelmed yourself and you didn't like appreciate all the work that would have to go into something. You thought that, oh, let's just scale up, because that's what all the tech bros talk about, scale up. All right. We spent that first 3 months in Diamond just putting in like 1 or 2 titles so that we could become completely familiar with how that whole thing worked. Right. It really is like a gigantic process, because like you send in your solicitations, say sent them in now. They're in the previous catalog 2 months from now, and then 2 months after that they're in stores. But like that's not necessarily like the end of that whole sequence, because of like when you then have to send in an invoice to Diamond for the books that they're buying from you and all that, and that'll be interesting to see how long of a turnaround that is too, and like how, if that adds any more time to that. Like,
have you even been paid based on your stuff, or just got paid for the first thing?
Gosh. So we'll have to send them an invoice after a book gets delivered to their docks, and it should have been by now, right? But like because of the hurricane,
because Prospects came out in stores already, right?
No, it hasn't.
Oh, okay.
It should have been on the God. It should have been October 19th was the initial in-store date, and we've pushed it back a couple weeks initially after that hurricane first hit, and we waited for about a week and a half to get some more info from the printer, and like, okay, we need to like really drastically push it back by almost like a full month.
Wow.
Because of the hurricane and setting everything back. So last week I believe it was being printed. So that'll get shipped out from the printer, and then something gets delivered to Diamond. They don't necessarily like get right on it and unpack it and sort it that same day, right? That sits around for a little bit as they get through all of their own deliveries. So yeah, basically once it's arrived at their docks and they acknowledge it receipt, I then have to send them an invoice, and then however long it takes for that to close out. Hopefully though, like that all pretty much syncs up with around the same time that something's going to stores, so that like it doesn't drag that process out anymore. But each one of those like solicitation cycles is at least 4 months, maybe it stretches to 5 months until you get your payment from the distributor back, and you can essentially like close out that cycle.
But like in our case, correct me if I'm wrong. Assuming you could front the printing, uh, which is weird because you got to know the orders before you print because you're not an FOC. So you got to kind of guess.
Yep.
If you have that on your docket, you get paid faster if you can get it to them faster, right? Basically.
Yeah, if you can get those books into them, and the quicker you can get them to there, the quicker you can then invoice and get the billing turnaround.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a weird process, and again, like that's probably another thing that's going to be different between like a buy sell vendor versus the on consignment. I don't think any of that's super secret industry stuff. If it is, they fail to tell me.
No, I think that's pretty standard.
Yeah, yeah, it's not like I'm lighting the world on fire with brand new information. It's just a little bit more insight into what it is a Banded Bards specifically goes through as a publisher.
Right.
No, yeah, we're no experts on it. It's a learning curve, and again, that's why we set out by just doing those 1 or 2 solicitations for 3 months, because we knew we didn't have all the answers, and we were going to like stumble a little bit and learn from screwing up. Like anybody that's starting a new process should probably expect to fuck up a little bit and have to learn from it. If you think you're going to know it all right away and not make any mistakes, I don't know, man. That's a little bit of hubris.
Yeah. Well, and that's the way Comics Tribe does it. When they launch a Kickstarter, they're doing it for the diamond order. When they buy the books, they're printing it for the backers and the diamond order at the same time. So that's a great system. But they have about 5 years ahead of you of practice and figuring out how it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and 5 years doesn't seem like a long time, but I'll tell you, like from when we look back at just being around for like the 18 months that Banded Bards has been around, like and I stop and like try to consider just how much we have learned in that time, and like how far we have come from basically just being a Twitter page, right? And a couple of guys like trying to do something. Like those years represent a lot of accumulated knowledge and accomplishments. So, yeah, 5 years can be a gigantic leap over somebody that's just been around for like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, if you can manage to hang around that long, then you probably have accumulated enough institutional knowledge and and know-how that you'll be able to stick around for the long haul.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Well, I think it takes courage to make that big step, because that's you're playing in it's not, you're playing with the grown-ups there.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little intimidating, but it's also something where if you do step back and you look at all the publishers that are there, it gives you a little bit of a frame of reference to understand, like, hey, this is a big accomplishment. It's a big step for you, but like, it's not like a big, super exclusive club, and to understand being listed through Diamond is really just another tool for us as a publisher, right? And try to not make it to be such a big deal, not to put it on a pedestal so much so that it becomes an intimidating thing.
Well, yeah, and just things that I know, a normal comic creator is like, oh, if I'm in Diamond, that's when you make it. That's not true. A lot of these small publishers make less than 1,000 copies.
Mm-hmm.
At Aftershock, not Aftershock, Antarctic Press, most of their projects are under 500. You got to think, and they have what 30 years of experience. 50. Their Antarctic's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
So it's not a end all be all. You got to do the work. You got to figure out all that stuff. But the key is, how do you make a brand that you can relate to, that people vibe with, that people like, and people want to be part of it. And I know you're making great strides in that. I know when you announced me, like 5 or 6 people are like, "Oh, I'm going to message them. I need to be part of it now too." So all it takes is a couple creators to sign on. Where you get a couple of names, and then you can take
Yeah.
risks on these new things that you get in your email box every day. You're like, I can now guarantee you a certain amount of sales where I couldn't before, because I have a couple of these bigger names. Because when someone starts buying a thing, they'll buy the whole line. They may not buy.
Yeah.
They may buy 5 copies of mine and one of everything else, but that's it's getting to that process. And like Image, it's Marvel, DC, and Image, right? There's most stores will buy at least 2 or 3 of every Image title. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter what
Yeah.
cover is. Doesn't matter who the creative teams is. 2 to 3 of everyone, and then bigger stuff. And just getting to that growth, to that point where you get to be one of those. And how do you get that?
Yeah, at this point, like, so Chris and I kind of stepped back and reassessed things. Probably like after that first purchase order from Diamond came in, right? And we just
Right.
like, okay, cool. This is what it's like. Um, I had to flap back to the comments. Barely. Okay, cool. We're at a next step in this process. Let's take a second and evaluate just like what we're understanding so far and all that. And like, so the goal now is to just continuously increase those monthly sales. Like, you're
Right.
not, you can't ever sit back and just think, okay, cool, we're got this now, and we have so many followers now, we've got so many backers on a Kickstarter before, like that means that we're going to now do this. Like, you can't ever frame something like that, because you just set yourself up for disappointment. Like, the goal really needs to be to just make that continuous incremental improvement every single month. And along those lines, eventually after 6 months, you look back and like, oh wow, that's like a gigantic big step right there in 6 months. And in that time, we've also started to identify some more things that we need to shoot for in terms of like, just short-term, medium-term goals. Like, I don't like the idea of narrowing your focus to a super short term, but if you ever want to achieve your longer term goals, you absolutely have to break them up into smaller turnaround, small chunk goals. And then you focus on those while all the time kind of stepping back and making sure you're still seeing the big picture.
Yeah. No, that I dig that. I like that. I think that you guys are making the right stride in that, and I think I think you guys have made some great stuff. I think the first quarter looks really good. All the books you guys have planned coming out, and that's not counting one of the things that I like about your publisher versus others is it's not just about the diamond. All right, cool. Like, what are we going to do for Kickstarters? What does a
Mm-hmm.
Kickstarter look like? How do those things look like? In what does that take you for bandwidth? I think those are fun.
Yeah, big time. And I've said it over and over, in that if being able to just get yourself listed in previews and expect to make big sales from it, that model has kind of been completely tossed out the window in the last few years.
Right.
Like we've seen, just like through, I think COVID wasn't really what pushed it there. It's that it opened up the floodgates to a lot of holes in the whole distribution model that people have talked about for a long time, and like just need that push over the cliff. But for us, and again, every publisher should be different. You all have to have, everybody has to have their own different approach that's going to work for them. If you start off a new publisher and say that you're going to do it exactly the way Marvel did, well, all right, you're going to fail. Because like Marvel and DC were able to do what they were able to do for a lot of different reasons, right? And part of those have to do with like the historical context of when they started and like when they were able to do the different things that they did. Like you can't look to just replicate what those folks have done because like the environment that they're operating in was completely different from present day.
Right.
That's the history major in me coming out. But for us, diamond's an important thing, right? You need to have the mass market distribution if you want to have hopes at big sales numbers. But, equally important is to have access to the, traditional book market through those types of distribution channels. Having Kickstarter and more direct sales types of distribution models as well. And each of those customer bases through those distribution chains is very different. So it's not that so much that you have to, you have to target your messaging and your marketing in different ways for each of them, but you can take one product and sell it basically 3 or 4 different ways like that. So, just like the old Chappelle Show skits, you gotta diversify your bonds. Like you gotta diversify your income streams. You gotta diversify your distribution channels and give yourself as many opportunities to put that book into some reader's hands.
Right.
You can't just put all your eggs in the single basket of the comics direct market.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree, and and even in our plan, when we sat down and talked about the plan for the comic, we talked about early on how it would be a waste to not do a Kickstarter with Judas at some point because I have such a strong fan base there, and we cannot guarantee, though we want all of you guys to go to the store, we know that some of you guys never go to comic stores. It's just reality. You only buy from Kickstarter. So how do we get stuff to you?
Absolutely. Like where I grew up, we didn't have a comic shop.
Right.
When I was a kid, we had newsstands that would carry them still, and like you would still find comics in the rack at the checkout lines at a grocery store, but you don't see that anymore. You don't have a whole lot of like U.S. news stores dotting across America that carrying comics and having their racks of comics. And like, well, it's funny because like some of my earliest associations with picking up some Captain America comics is like this. People buying scratch off tickets and the smell of pipe tobacco. Like that's absolutely a generational thing. You don't have kids putting that.
Imagine that, but in a French Canadian town. So the time of the month that you see one comic laying around on that rack at the convenience store, it's like it's a party, man.
Yeah.
I got it got to get me in contact with Marvel stuff a little bit, but that was really random. Like one month they can have like an Amazing Spider-Man. Month after there's a Punisher Warzone.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. So it was hard to follow and learning English through that as well. It was hard to follow the stories when you get only part 3 of 6.
Yeah.
Or part 6 or on 12 from when it was like Maximum Carnage or stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's still people who, you can be a big comics fan a lot easier now because of things like Twitter, right? It's very easy to follow that, but you don't necessarily have access to buying the books physically if you don't have a local comic shop. So Kickstarter is a really great way to kind of get around that and for more people to have access to comics.
And you can see what you want about them, but Amazon did make it a bit easier as well. So with the trades,
Yeah, I mean, terrible terrible business practices in a lot of ways. Like,
Sure.
Yeah.
coming home from dinner tonight, we saw like, an Amazon delivery driver, and then like he's like running from the truck to the house, and I'm like, I wonder if he's doing that just because he wants to, or he's like trying to finish up his shift and get back, or like, do they have like a little tag on him to know how fast he's walking from the truck to the house? Is he getting graded for that? Like, I don't know with Amazon, but like,
Just trying to improve his Fitbit.
yeah, I know. But like the truth of it is they got there because they were providing a service that like was very much needed for people who live in areas that like you can't just go down to the shopping mall very easily. You can't head out to an electronics store that has all the variety.
Do you guys put Band of Bards stuff on Amazon?
So it will be now. Like I was just showing you Sentience. Well, I'm still screwing around getting the physical specs set up for it to print. The ebook file is up and out there, so like you can go and get it as a Kindle. You can get it through Barnes and Noble. That's the nice thing about using Ingram is that it does, and we'll be doing this with any kind of like trades too. Basically anything that can be perfect bound, we can put up as an EPUB through Ingram. Come on, where's that page? It gave me all the information.
Well, that's what you do at Tales of Megafest, right? You put it through Ingram to, well, not necessarily Ingram, but you put it directly to Amazon, right? And then buy your copies.
Yeah.
Not to throw you on blast.
Shut up. Yeah. So like I have like two editions. I have the Prestige edition and I have the Standard edition. And the Standard editions aren't out yet because I have to reformat the pages. So the Standard edition of the Girl with the Megafist will be just like a little bit bigger, and like the pages aren't going to be like as good looking because there's going to be this like stupid like bleed area. But it's like it's there to get the story out to more people. But like it's available on Kindle. Like I did like a free deal, and I was like number one shonen manga for like a week on there in terms of downloads. So yeah, I think creators are dumb if they don't put their stuff on Amazon.
Yeah,
because it's the largest book market.
It's a gigantic market. Yeah, like I found the page I was looking for. Ingram's cool because it does give you like global distribution, both with like physical books and ebooks. But I mean, there's so many different like electronic or ebook. I don't know. I don't do ebooks myself. There's so many of these different marketplaces for them around the world. But yeah, so Amazon, Apple Books, Barnes and Noble are the ones like we'd be familiar with here. But it gets listed with Follett, EBSCO, ebooks.com, Bookmate, Cortex. All these are the ones that are like popular in Europe and then like in Asia. And I think some others are specific to like Australia. So yeah, there's just dozens of different digital book outlets there, and on top of the physical distribution. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it sounds good. I guess we'll see in practice how well it actually follows through.
It's one of those things where it's funny because Tim, I don't know if you know, like my day job is working for a book publisher.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so like so my job is every single day just marketing books and working with distributors, putting them into stores. Like today, one of the new printers that we did, they shrink wrapped all of our books, which like looks great. It's great for our online store, but Costco doesn't want them shrink wrapped, so it's like they ordered 1,000, so it's like great. Let me spend the next hour unwrapping 1,000 books for Costco. But yeah, like I think it's one of those things where like just because your book is in Ingram doesn't mean that it's going to get in Barnes and Noble, but it gives you the opportunity to get it. So that if I go, hey Barnes and Noble, I would like Coins of Judas graphic novel, and they go, oh well, we don't carry that, and then you can go, well, you can order it off Ingram, and then they go, okay. Whereas most indies just can't do that, and like I mean, Travis, you could put your stuff on Ingram. It's a $50 fee to do it.
Yeah, I don't know why I haven't put. I'm so intimidated about Cthulhu Invades, like formatting, and it's probably because of Comixology, instead of like
you should be.
intimidated about uploading it. Like somehow I'm gonna give over my rights. / somehow it's not gonna look right. Somehow.
Look at this. You see this? These are every failed attempt of getting my book to go through KDP on Amazon. Right. Each of these is $20. I like called the person. I went, "Why don't you accept my book?" They go, "It doesn't meet our standards." I'm like, "I'm looking at it right now. It's beautiful." Accept it. They go, "Oh, the AI says it's all wrong," and I'm like, "It looks great." Yeah, those things can get intimidating for sure. And they take hours.
I've done novels. A comic book. Like, I'm just so scared.
Like comics, everything's got to be so precise with like the bleed, the margin. You like and like, you know, trying to reformat this page. I'm like, okay, this is a splash page, so this is gonna look different in this with this size. It's daunting.
I'm waiting for Jerome to say, "Hey, I'll do it," and it hasn't
be
happened.
Be a team player, Jerome. Do it.
Yeah.
I just wait every day. I'm just, I go check my messages from Jerome. We're fresh. It's not there. I don't know what's happening. Cool. And what's cool about, when you get into like Barnes & Noble, what I like about it is, even though it's kind of a vanity thing, is you can go to Barnes & Noble. I don't know if you know this, but anybody who's an author, you can go to Barnes & Noble, request a signing. They'll do one for you. They'll order like 10 copies. The kicker is, though, if you don't sell those 10 copies,
you buy them. Yeah, it's totally a vanity thing. We work with authors and they go, "I want to do a signing on Barnes & Noble." I'm like, "Well, you don't have a following. You're really just going to be begging." And they're like, "Yeah, but I want to do it." I went, "Okay, you're going to have to buy the books. You do realize that." And they go, "Oh, you're not going to do it for me?" I'm like, "No, like, because I know you're not going to sell them, so I'm definitely not going to do it for you."
Half-Life Comics asks, "Have you ever heard of the Gospel of Jesus?" Yes, it's actually referenced in issue 1 and 2 of this book. Yep. Lots of biblical references in here.
Roland did a great job as well with the flashbacks, like the color palette he chose for those flashbacks. I thought were stellar. It's like this orange and blue, and like I know like they kind of match in the color wheel, but like it was very well done. The shades he chose.
And we mentioned that earlier that you were drawing super fast, but Roland is coloring those pages like.
Yeah, he's super fast.
He's nailing them.
Yeah, I think that's why Tyler doesn't want to throw them up, because he stopped at 7 and it was done. He's like, "I need to throw enough so Roland can't get it done in a day because it's pissing me off."
Yeah, so I'm not gonna upload the rest of issue 2. I'm just like, I'm done. There it is, Roland. Because literally he was like, "Here's, I already did page 1 of issue 2," and it was like a day later, and I'm like, he's gonna take forever on this. And the next day, okay, I did the other 6, and I'm just like,
and he'll message. He's like, "All right, you can pay me now. You just did them yesterday. I don't understand." Yep, you're done. Oh, all right.
Yeah, he's fat. He's very fast. So, yeah, I'm not uploading anymore until I finish.
And I gotta tell you, we have a great team. Like there's some art styles that Roland's chosen that I wasn't a huge fan of, but like everybody else on our Orange Cone team really loved it. So I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm wrong. I hate that because I like being right, but
well, maybe we're all wrong, but.
And I'm right. That's probably correct. Yes.
If we hear the phrase "too much red," then we'll go, okay, fine. Travis won.
But yeah, maybe we're all wrong. Like, Beta was better than VHS, but VHS won. So.
Right. It's true.
It's the same fight.
It's true. But we are so excited about this book. We're so excited about getting it out to you guys. We're taking it very seriously. Tyler and I are very competitive, so we want every story in the nation to have it. Like, so whatever it takes. So let us know.
Yeah, rat the other creators out. Be like, so and so did that. We'll do better.
Right.
Yeah, and I know that Tyler is a great designer as well. So I need to make sure that he doesn't think that my lettering sucks. So
Your lettering's great. Your lettering's great. I love your sound effects because when I do sound effects, I just grab my pen and I just go whoosh, and I look at it, I go, good enough. They'll stare at that for 2 seconds. Good enough. Your lettering's great. I love the font you chose. This book is great. Like this book, this book is great. It's been really fun. I haven't worked on a team in like several years, so it's been very fun to give my pages over to someone else. That's been fun.
with color pages as well.
Yeah, exactly. Like normally, if I do a colored page book, I'll pay the line artist and then I'll color it and then I'll letter it. So it's been great to have some other people do the work that I normally do, and then they do it a lot better.
Like the first cover, Tyler completely colored it because I was like, all right, I want it a certain way. So Tyler colored the whole thing, and then it literally is just a recolor, slightly better. I don't even think it's drastically better than what Tyler did. It's slightly better than what Tyler did. And Tyler's like, well, that only took me half it. That didn't take me long. I could have done it. Now we've had a lot of time. We're getting a lot of the covers that you guys haven't seen. The exclusive covers are coming in. They're very cool. We have a Hawkeye homage that's coming in.
Nice.
That's really cool. There's some really cool stuff coming in the pike, and these characters are a lot of fun. People are excited to see them, and we're hoping that it becomes as big as a hit as we think it's going to be, and we want to give you guys a lot more. I've talked to Tim and Chris. Both of them are really excited about having us part of the team, and Tyler's willing to do it in between his Girls with Mega Fists. So it's a lot of fun, and he's also doing another book called Chefs.
Yeah. And potentially another one.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's unacceptable. That wasn't approved by me. But.
Yeah, I'm doing Chefs. I think I'm gonna wait till I have 2 graphic novels finished before I release it. Oh, this looks gross.
But yeah, it's been a lot of time. It's been a lot of fun putting this book together, and it's really cool. And I'm so excited that Bands of Bards, get to do a Tyler and Travis thing before Kickstarter, right? This is coming out to stores before we show it to Kickstarter. Like, we don't even know what that looks like. It's very confusing. Like, like how does this work? Like even because he's got Girl with the Mega Fest coming out in the same month in January. You can get it through Manga Z. That's at issue 9.
Yeah, through Antarctic Press.
Through Antarctic Press, and I've got Granite State Punk, but it's just reprints of our stuff. This is our first original that's going out into the world blind. I think it's going to be. It's really scary to us, or at least to me. I can't speak for Tyler, but it's really scary for me knowing that I know stores have ordered it, but I don't know how much. Like right now on Holiday Spirits, I know we have, 57 orders and we've made $1,871. Tim can't get me that order number from Diamond. Like Tim can't call Diamond and go, "How many have we sold?" Like, you're not going to tell him. So we just gotta kind of have to wait. It's scary. The feeling of like not being in control, because like if your Kickstarter numbers are down, I just need to do this, so you do more of that. But right now you're just like, for all we know, we sold 1 million, and for all I know, we've sold 0. And by the time they go, "Oh yeah, you sold 0," it's like, well, crap, what do I do? And it's like, well, it's too late. You sold 0, and you're like. So it is this like, okay, well, do we go heavy promotion now? Do we go heavy promotion during the month? It's all very, very new.
It's chaotic, and rightfully so. Diamond does protect the privacy of their customers very much. So I can't even ask them. Can you tell me at least like what stores bought? I'm not gonna bother asking. Tell me which stores bought and how many they bought. No way. But like, I can't even ask. I can ask, but like, they won't tell me which stores bought through them. Like, the best thing I can do is try to figure out based off of the bills of lading, like, and the destinations of all their diamond warehouses, like where did the most copies go to regionally,
Right.
and maybe that kind of gives me an idea of like, okay, good, we're selling most of our books out through like the Northeast, which I would hope for because we're based in the Northeast, like, and hopefully the other distribution centers are ordering a lot as well. It's just less than what is being ordered by stores in the Northeast, because this is like shit. I want that to be my strongest presence.
I promise you, and I'm not that Florida will kill you.
Yeah, it'll probably be a little bit different with this book, so it'll be real interesting just to see the, from like a business geek standpoint, what that distribution is like. I imagine that, like they have a distribution center in Plattsburgh, New York, and you can pretty much understand that that's going to be where they then send books out to stores in the Northeast. But like, it's probably their new Memphis warehouse that sends books to like down to the Florida. I would think so. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see that distribution.
Well, I'll tell you what. Here's if you're watching this and you have a store, please order it. And here's the deal: if we sell 3,000 copies through Diamond, I will somehow in February come up to Tyler for the release of issue 2, so we can sign a whole bunch of copies and get you guys taken care of it. I'll get out to Tyler because I have friends out in Utah. We'll do a signing out there because he's got 2 little babies. It doesn't really work as well. I only have 1 little baby. And I'll come out there and we'll do some signings, and then we can sell some stuff in the web store so people who aren't in that area can get double signed. I'll even teach Tyler what CGC is because I mentioned that to him and it was hard. So I'll teach him, and we'll maybe even get some sent out to ship to CGC. So
I know nothing about comics.
But yet you know everything about comics.
I know everything about making them, marketing them, but then, you're like, you go, should we do CGC? I'm like, what is this? I don't even. Yeah, guys, if we can get to 3,000 copies, I mean, that's just phenomenal. I mean, the store exclusive right now, we're already in the hundreds, which is fantastic. But also, we just want to be
hundreds of copies, right? Not
hundreds of copies. Yeah, but we just want.
Do you know something that we don't? Do we need to go off air real quick? Do you have 100?
But we have to beat all of Band of Bards books. Right. We have to be the best.
We need to get to the point where for issue 2, we have to do, so many states love us that we need to do state variants. So every state will get their own variant for 50 states, 51 for Puerto Rico. Like we'll keep growing as we need to.
There we go.
I don't know if this will be really popular in Utah.
We like supernatural stuff. Yeah. Travis even was like, "Yo, Tyler, any demons with Mormons?" Yeah. I'm like, we just got the Old Testament and New Testament stuff. Nothing in the Book of Mormon.
Damn Book of Mormon not helping me out.
Sorry, man. We got a lot of Mayans and stuff. It all takes place in Central America. For all I know, I could just go, "Oh yeah, the bad guy is from the Book of Mormon."
Well, let me.
We can have a special Clearwater exclusive, and the Westergaards can go get audits.
I did a signing with Tyler at a comic store in Utah, and it was very strange for me because everyone walked in, bought their books, and left. Nobody hung around and talked. And it was the weirdest thing because I'm coming from New Hampshire and from Florida, where we sit and talk to our comic, or the guy behind the counter like the whole time. But like it's like a shame thing when they come in. Like it's so crazy. Or at least
I told you I went to my comic book store after 2 years to go order my copies of Coins of Judas and Manga Z, and I was like, man, there's no one here. This place smells. And your shirt is 3 sizes too small. So yeah, it's but like the scene has really changed here in Utah. I went to FanX. It was basically Anime Con, and yet I brought my kid wearing Robin. I'm like, guys, where's Batman? Just one Batman, please. Yeah, it's very different here. But there's a ton of comic book artists here.
Right.
Like you got like Tyler Kirkham. That's the only one I have on the top of my head.
No, you guys have more than a few there. I can't remember all the names, but you guys have more than a few.
Yeah,
Are they all named Tyler?
yeah. I mean, only the best ones.
Isn't I think Scotty Young's from Utah, right?
Oh, I have no idea. I know. You have gosh,
I think
Sal Faludo.
Scotty Tyler Young.
Yeah, Sal Valuto, who he came up with the Black Panther costume. Gosh, who else? I can't think of anyone else.
No, there's a lot of cool people. That do some really cool stuff up there. So it's weird. I still had a good time. And like Black Cats at least looked like a cool comic store. The woman was all tattooed. The guy was all tattooed. They looked like they were running a record shop, but they sold comics instead, like on accident. They were really cool, and we had a good time. But like, I've never been to a store where like me being there is not any interest to anybody. Like normally they at least come to talk to you, even if they don't buy. And these guys were just like, nope, you can't know that I'm here. You're going to report it to my parents or to the Church of Mormon. You're going to report it to whatever, and we're going to get busted, and we're not going to be allowed to come here anymore. And you're the problem.
So they basically took the abstinence only thing to an extreme.
Right.
Don't touch comics. That's the.
Well,
it's funny though. I remember taking my friend and like his mom came with us to Barnes and Noble, and I start booking it towards the graphic novel section at like 10, and his mom just like grabbed my arm. She goes, "Kid, no, you can't go in that section." I go, "No, I want to go in the. I just want to go get myself a graphic novel." She goes, "No, like it's porn," and I go, "What?" And she's like, "Graphic," and I went, "No, it's Dragon Ball Z. It's just a bunch of dudes punching each other." And she was like, "What?" And like she looked at it. She goes, "Okay, I guess this is fine, but watch out. Watch out. Be wary."
It's so crazy, yeah. And then I remember growing up as a kid too. I had one where like I could buy the book, like it could be the same book, but if the cover was too like sexualized, I'd have to buy the non-sexualized version.
Mm.
I'd still buy the book. Like I don't understand that. That never made sense to me.
And now look at you doing a book about Christianity and demons.
I mean, Voodoo Nations is the same thing too.
That's true.
We got to have a Voodoo Nations Coins of Judas crossover. I'm excited.
That'd be one. That'd be some fight.
Well, there we go.
See the publisher pumped up. He's like, "Tell me more about this Voodoo Nations."
He goes crossover.
I can just imagine that big battle.
Yeah, no, that I think the two universes fit. Like when I write, I have two universes. Like this, it's the like magic. It works or doesn't. Like so, Broke Down is in a different universe. And in my world, Granite State Punk, Voodoo Nations, all those are in the same world. Like just different aspects.
So you could cross over Voodoo with Granite State Punk. Like they could just be happening on different sides of the country.
Right. And
Nice.
Coins of Judas, same thing. Like I would probably not write something that contradicts what we did in Coins of Judas.
Like with the magic system and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I probably wouldn't do anything that contradicts. Not that I would necessarily cross over, but it helps me make sense of it. And, you don't want to be the old hat, right? Travis, you wrote 4 books and all of them have Coins of Judas. Can you stop? Like, Jesus.
Well, you could do it.
They all have different soundtracks.
Right.
What you could do is in your next issue of Voodoo Nations, the guy's like, "Crap, what's this coin?" They go, "I don't know," and just chuck it.
Just chuck it.
just chuck it.
Guys have little chocolate coins.
Yes, I think we talked about that one. Not the chocolate coins, but having like a coin.
Well, we should definitely have chocolate coins if we ever do a convention, though.
Mm-hmm. Hey, people are going to stop at the table if they got some free chocolate.
Right.
It's true.
But that could be a neat little thing to send out to to the retailers that got some store exclusive covers to try to get like some little silver coins of Judas, but they're just chocolate.
Well, what's really interesting, believe it or not, is the Super Bowl coin is made right here in Melbourne, where I'm from. So the Super Bowl coin that they flip is made right here in Melbourne. It's minted right here. I mean, I'm sure it's super expensive, but yeah, and the rings, the whole thing.
That's cool.
Right here,
Yeah. Those are big ass coins.
Yeah. And the place is locked up like Fort Knox. You can't get in. Like you can't.
Oh
you
gosh, I can only imagine. Like the amount of security that the NFL puts around things is nuts. You know, and I mean, Christ, the freaking Super Bowl has like all sorts of agencies from the Department of Homeland Security working it.
Right.
What a taxpayer funded boondoggle.
My wife just found out the other day that it's a nonprofit, and that pissed her off.
Oh yeah.
So mad.
Yeah.
She was so mad because she runs a nonprofit for children, and they struggle to get money. And I was like, well, the NFL's a nonprofit. She's like, what? That's not true. I was like, oh yes.
Yeah, they got slammed pretty hard about that several years ago when people like finally realized, and it became, and it came something to the news cycle for all of like a week. But like people couldn't believe it. It was like, no, these leagues organize themselves as a nonprofit entity, and then like all the franchises themselves are for-profit businesses. But like the main league offices and all those things, because of like the definition of small business is usually based off of your workforce number. And I think it's usually something like under 500 employees, you're considered a small business. So like NFL franchises are small businesses because their number of W-2 employees is less than 500. And you're like, how are these people, these things that are worth billions of dollars, and they're small business?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, but like, we get these connotations with those words, and we don't, ever stop and think about what the actual textbook definition of them is, right? Like, non-profit's a bad word. It's not for profit. Like so legally speaking, the company's purpose for existence is not to generate profits for shareholders. Right. Whereas like any other for-profit private business has a legal obligation to generate profits for the shareholders, whether they're publicly traded or not.
Yeah, it was interesting. I was talking with I was trying to do a collab with like another like publishing company. He's like, okay, yeah, so like start off we're a nonprofit, and I was like, okay, well, that doesn't make sense to me. So let's figure that out. How do you make money before we try to work with each other? Because if you're not making money, and my whole goal is making money, we are. And yeah, they're like, oh yeah, we got these massive benefactors. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. All that means, right, is that legally a not for profit business can do a lot more things with their funding without running afoul of the law. Mm-hmm. Right.
That's why Draw and Talk Comics is a nonprofit. It was the charity of Tyler, and we need it.
It's because you don't make any money, so you might as well just call it a nonprofit.
Exactly, guys. I'm trying to create a for-profit company, so if we can get this book to 3,000 copies sold in your local comic book store, Daddy can go to his wife and go, "Hey, trust me, these comic book things, they're gonna pan out." That's why I don't see you guys.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry to derail it with some more business geek stuff there.
But we love business talk.
Oh yeah, Tyler and I are all about business talk. We'll go on for hours on shows and talk about business or bring up stuff, and I'll be like, "But did you know?" I actually saw Tyler the other day acting like he knew about backer kit, like he came up with the idea, even though I showed him that.
It's like my new thing now. I can sound so smart. Like, well, do you know about backer kit? And like you can see these things, and then people are like, "Oh wow!" And I'm like, "Yeah, I figured this out."
All the backer kit, they're like, I know a backer kit, it's a waste of money, but it's not. Let me tell you.
But I have a coworker, his name is Sky. He got like a big business degree, and he always brags about it, but he doesn't use it. And he'll tell me these like really like big like like this is what this means, and this is how you do it. I go and he goes, "Are you gonna make an episode of Draw and Talk on this?" I'm like, "Yep, I'm gonna sound real smart. Thank you."
Nice.
No, we love business talk because I mean it sometimes it can be really boring for like definitely like the consumer, but if you have like a lot of creators watching, they're entertained by it because a lot of the time they're just like, "Oh, I didn't know that," and
Well, everybody's got their different skill sets, and I think that gets overshadowed a lot. That like the business side of it is boring, or I'm an artist. I'm here to make art. I'm not here to like talk about that and shallow business stuff. Like, okay, let's get off the high horse for a second and let's like understand all the different things that go into making a comic. And I'm sorry, but like, yes, marketing is a skill that goes into making comics, because making a comic is a very, very broad thing, and it's in no way confined to the individual piece of the puzzle that goes in. Like, making a comic is not just the physical act of writing or making art. Like, there's a lot of shit that goes into making a comic. So,
well, and it breaks my heart. That whole aspect breaks my heart. Like, I see people who are very, very talented, but they can't market themselves at all, so they just fail. And it breaks my heart when they do that. That's kind of the reason why we do all these anthologies, so we can bring them over, right? And be like, all right, we'll market you at least for this little piece, and hopefully it can help you, expand your market share. But
yeah, I mean, I think sometimes people get really myopic and they want to define things way too narrowly, and they don't understand that like part of like, do you plan to never pitch your comic to anybody?
Right.
Do you like plan to make it and then not show it off to anybody, whether it's just to show it to like a family member, try to sell it yourself at anywhere, or like try to pitch it to like a publisher? Like, that's marketing. It might not be like marketing in a very big commercial sense of like taking out advertisements and all that, but like the act of trying to sell the book in any way, whether you're trying to sell it to a publisher, sell them the idea of it, or just out there at like a farmer's market or an art fair at your own table, at Artist Alley. Like, did you make it just to be completely vain and like say I made this and put it up on your mantle, or like are you trying to get it into other people's hands and see other people enjoy it?
right.
Yeah, I always say like if you want to make comics like just for fun, like 100%, like go do that, have fun, make the comic, do what you want with it, give it out for free. It's okay. But the moment you complain that there's no sales and there's no one's reading it, that's when I go, okay, now you didn't make that comic for fun. Now you made that comic for other people to consume, which means now you need to start thinking business. And now you're in a new realm that we need to start thinking a certain way. I mean, just making the comic, like if you change that, because if you just go, I'm gonna make a comic about Hot Dog Man, and then you're like, oh, how come Hot Dog Man isn't selling? Well, maybe Hot Dog Man isn't appealing isn't marketable. So like one thing that I liked that was, I don't know if it was intentional, smart, was like Sophia is, I think, a very marketable character in Coins of Judas, and then with her brother, I mean, we did like what 3 or 4 designs on the mask.
Yeah.
Because we're like, and I was like, Travis, this one's the easiest to draw, and you were like, yeah, but this one looks better. So do this one, because you want to, and I'm really glad that we picked the one that we did, because that you go, everything you do is now marketing. Through the character designs, that's marketing, and the story, that's marketing. Even how they talk, even how they talk in their relationship, like if the person's just if the character is just completely unlikable, like then you have a very bad product, and your character's not marketable. So the moment you start thinking, okay, how can I get people to sell? Every aspect of you making the comic in some way is marketing.
Why do we focus on making a character relatable?
Exactly.
That's always like a very innate thing we understand. We should make at least some character relatable. Maybe not all of them, but like our main protagonist probably should be. And maybe even your villain, you somehow make them a little bit relatable so people can understand there's humanity to the villain too, right? But like, we understand that you should do that because it makes the character better, but we don't stop and think, well, what is it? Why is it that they're a better character because of those things?
I think it's one of the strong suits for Travis. He knows how to create compelling characters. Even like we have those brothers and sisters there, but in Voodoo Nation, Bishop Lucas, he's a big part of the success of this book, I think, because he's there's something that brings people to him. So for some ways, for some reason, even though he's the most villainous character you can think of, and same thing with Zeke in Granite State Punk. The way he's like dumb in a certain way is like he thinks he knows stuff, but not that much. But it makes him relatable. Yeah, Travis is really good with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're a really relatable guy, Travis.
Well, thanks. No, I try to make characters, that I want to see, that I want to put in the world. I try to make them very interesting, and I try to make them very different. I try to make that you can tell that Bishop Lucas is, even like you said, he's evil, but in that first issue, he does nothing evil. But everyone knows he's the bad guy, which is what I love. He does zero evil things in issue 1. Zero, nothing evil, but he's the bad guy because we built up this tension in the way he does stuff. He's kind of the Loki, of our universes, And our bad guy, you guys haven't met Kayak, the Mayan guy in issue 2 yet, but he's very fun too. He's a very fun guy. He's got his own motives. He's not necessarily evil. His goal is the same goal as the brother and sister. He just wants to do it differently.
Yeah, I remember reading it. I read the script a couple times. I'm like, this guy's not that bad. He just wants to do it a different way.
Right.
And he's got his own crew of people that do their thing. So it's like just this disagreement of like, my crew wants to do it this way and your crew wants to do it this way. And it's one of those. Yeah, it's very relatable.
So is Magneto.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
They're all just Magneto. That's every character I've ever made. Just different from Magneto. Some are Joseph. Summer's when he's with the X-Men, but yeah, it's just a series of Magnetos. You're correct.
I mean, isn't that why Marvel on the MCU side decided to, instead of having Thanos be some insane maniac obsessed with Lady Death,
yeah,
to having him do we need to solve world hunger by just genociding half of the people.
Well, what I liked about that one, it was very relatable because I'm just like, gosh, I'm in traffic for way too long. There's too many people. But in Hawkeye, in the Hawkeye TV show, there's a moment where Clint sees written on Sharpie, it was like, I wish the Thanos snap had stayed. And you have these people, and so you get to see, it's a very polarizing thing. I always joke with my coworkers. I'm like, gosh, I don't think COVID took out enough people. Because there's freaking traffic, and then they'll be like, "Oh, my mom got hit with it." I was like, "Yeah, well, my grandma died. So what do you want?" I joke about it, but with the Thanos thing, I'm sure there were people who were like, "This is great." Everyone who snapped, I hated, and then there's other people who are like, "That really sucked." And we gotta see it in Hawkeye. Whereas you're right, if they just done the comics version, he's like this just crazy guy doing it for this woman. Yeah, it probably wouldn't be as relatable. You go, oh, this guy's just absolutely crazy.
I'll say I like the absolute insanity of him doing it because he's trying to like woo this imaginary lover of his. Like that to me makes like a much more insane and compelling villain. Like, oh my god, there's like no stopping this. Like there's no reasoning with that. But then the way they ended up doing it from the movie makes all those other follow-on stories and stuff possible. And it's like, oh, now that's a lot more interesting that they went that way because we get all this other material.
Well, and I don't know if you know this, but Lady Death being a figment of his imagination is only about a 8-year-old concept. Like when it was written in Infinity Gauntlet, death was actually a thing, and then someone pointed out, read Infinity Gauntlet, and go, no one in the whole book except for Mephisto acknowledges death, and Mephisto acknowledging it, manipulating people is fine. Like that's no problem. So they reversed all the continuity that death is never a thing and it's just a thing in his head, which is awesome.
Now, so he's actually even crazier.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Wow.
When he was doing it before, death was an entity, but someone retconned it and was like, no. And when it's really cool when you can go back to, Infinity Gauntlet and go, no one besides Mephisto acknowledges that death exists. No one. Like when Cap's there to fight, he's not like Death's watching us. He's like, no, Thanos, let's go down.
Oh, interesting.
There's a like early or mid '90s Silver Surfer cartoon, and in a few episodes you see Thanos, and he's got like a statue of Lady Death that he's always talking to in his ship, and it's just him and the statue, and that he's always opining to her, and that kind of tripped me out when I went back and like rewatched it a little bit of it this past couple of years, and I'm like, this is a cartoon that really was like made for maybe like 10 to 12-year-old kids,
right?
And you've got him, like, this isn't like your typical kind of like scripted for little kids cartoon, because you've got this madman talking to a statue of Lady Death. Like that's a little bit higher of a concept for a little kid.
That's wild.
Yeah, that was a big tangent.
Well, those are the comics that I like. The ones that go deep into continuity and go, I can play with this and make it work. And sometimes like the Death thing, that was amazing to me. But they also did the same thing with the first 50 issues of Darkhawk. That never happened. That was all in its head. I'm not okay with that. Right? So.
I think they just respect the readers. That's what they respect the readers, and it's like they maybe when whoever is it Jim Starlin who did Infinity War?
Yeah.
Gosh.
Yeah, he created Thanos. Yep.
I pulled that out of my ass. I was
very
like,
proud of you. Very proud.
Because I don't know this stuff. But
it's a big day.
So I still don't know what CGC stands for. But like they respect the reader. Like if it's in the head or not, they don't have to say it. You can figure that out for yourself. I didn't figure it out when I read it, but when you saying it now, I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. Like this is all just figment of his imagination. They respect that. And, I think that's what makes a good comic is when the creators respect their reader. The creators respect their readers, and like we don't have to tell them everything. We'll let them figure out some of the stuff. I mean, there's this one page. There's no dialogue in Coins of Judas, and it's got Sophia, and we don't say what her relationship is with her father or how she feels, but it's smart. You can just tell after that 9-panel grid, or I think it's 6. You just go. You should know by the end. Hopefully the reader's smart enough to know at the end to go, oh, this is how she feels about her family. And it's actually very conflicting, actually. You actually get a range of emotions of... I won't spoil it. It's actually real. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh, wow, there was actually a ton of emotions in those six panels. Got goosebumps.
Well, if you write a character right, like look at Batman. Batman has been Victorian Batman. He's been caveman Batman. He's been everything, and Batman works because the character was written well. So if you write a character right, that character can go in any story. You just got to build that foundation. And that's what we're doing with Coins of Judas, is building this foundation of Sophia and Gunther and, what we're doing with them and who they are as people and what they're capable of doing, And we do that, by just defining their brother and sister relationship. We don't talk about, if they have girlfriends or boyfriends or whatever the case would be, what any of that stuff is, because it doesn't matter. It's about a brother and sister who fight demons and trying to deal with, how their father dying at a young age. That's the story of what it's about.
It's tits, guys. It's such a good book.
But we can be done whenever you want. I see the yawn, Tim. I don't know how long.
I'm staring at the screen trying to think of something constructive to say or something worthwhile to add. And
Tim, what comics are you reading these days?
Oh my gosh. I have so many stacks. I literally did like a 360 around my office yesterday, and I counted 13 stacks between comics and books. And like, oh my god.
You read books with no pictures?
I do.
Nerd.
Yeah. Let's see.
How does that even work?
How do you know what's going on? Like, do they just like...
It's complicated.
Yeah, I'll pull out one of these stacks.
I mean, Hot Dog Man is not going to be interesting if you can't see the hot dog.
Exactly. You know what's funny is my book publisher, my boss is always like, Tyler, have you read any of the recent releases? I'm like, dude, like, I can't get past page 2. There's no pictures. I'm bored. My reading comprehension level's just gone to crap.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, I used to hate reading as like a little kid, and comics were what helped me start to enjoy reading. And it was partly from like just like I had to go through speech therapy and a whole bunch of other stuff like that. But like I struggled to read for a long time, and comics were like, kind of get me over the hump. But this is the top of my pile right now. Yeah.
Gridlock. That cover is not IDW quality cover. Like, it needs some work.
Yeah. They lost the Hasbro title.
Yeah, because
license.
of that cover. That specific cover.
But
that's why they lost the licensing deal. They go, that's shit.
But they've been doing all these like best of like any of the Transformers to kind of like just milk whatever they can out of it at the end of their license. But
they're really doing a good job.
Yeah, but I mean, it's fucking Grimlock. How can you not want to read that? But
I think the cover they're trying to emulate the style that they have for the best of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but doesn't work as well. Not exactly the same style, but well,
this is a giant stack, mostly of Spawn.
We were too nice to that cover.
Wolverine.
All right. Ed Bisham. Good stuff.
Yeah. I've liked that run.
Yes, Tyler, that's another comic thing I know that you don't.
I don't know. I don't read mainstream comics.
Let me guess. Stephanie Phillips, right?
Yep.
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 I have a question about Spawn. Any of you is reading it?
Yeah. I said this. I got.
Okay, because I have the feeling, I have this this feeling that most people who are buying Spawn comics are just collecting them. Not reading.
See, I don't know if that's true. I think there is just there's this group of people who are just like, Spawn's so cool. I'm never gonna read Marvel and DC, and they keep reading Spawn forever, and they just keep buying it. And Todd realized that number was higher than he thought it was. And that's why he has all these extra titles. So these people are buying like 6 or 7 Spawn titles a month.
Yeah, I have this feeling that those people are not reading it, are just buying it. Spawn is cool. Look at that cool cover, and they're not reading it.
I think so. There's probably always been.
I do have a soft spot for Spawn, but I see how high they sell those covers.
Oh, hey, here's some more of those for you.
Yes, look at those are so bad.
Oh yeah, sell. Like I'm gonna buy that.
Yeah, those are.
Our book looks better than that, people.
I can't get over Bumblebee smiling. But But no, those have been interesting because they're just big, like any other kind of like best of, but they've got like bits and pieces of each of those characters from like all sorts of different generations of the comics. So like you get super older art styles like this mixed in with like some of the newer stylings like these guys. So it's it's like a time capsule thing, and I like that. Yeah, a whole bunch. Big mix. Star Wars High Republic. I really liked the run the Iron Man. The Cantor was done.
I canceled it because of him. I did the opposite.
Because of who?
Chris Cantwell came over, who tons of people love, like all of his book. I have not found one that I enjoy in any aspect at all.
That's fair. That's like me with Tom King.
I'll tell you, the first 6 issues, there are times where I was about to just drop it from my pool, and I was like, I'll give it one more. Because, like, the Hellcat...
Yeah, that made me mad.
Being integrated... Yeah, I was like, I want to see what's going on with this. And then it just started going out into some really wild directions, and I was like, oh, this is actually some neat stuff. I don't know.
You can read it. It's fine. He's already off the title, so...
Yeah,
but
I think number 26 was the last one.
Yeah, he did 2 years. So I mean, getting 2 years on a title at Marvel is tough. So good for him.
Yeah, the old door.
Gosh, I wish. I was talking to my wife and I was like, she's like, Tyler, you used to like go to the comic book store a ton. I was like, yeah, there's nothing that I want to read anymore. Like I've bought a bunch, like, and I went to, like, last time I went to the comic book store, like 2 weeks ago, I couldn't find anything. None of the titles interested me, so I just went home and backed like 4 Kickstarters.
There's stuff that you'd like you would probably really, really dig Nice House on the Lake. Have you ever heard about this?
Oh, that's good.
Is that a DC one?
It's a DC one, DC Black Label.
One.
Yep.
Black Label. I do like the Black Label stuff, so I will pick up the collected Black Label stuff.
The first volume is out.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's about this group that seem to have no connection except they all know this one guy. They get invited to this house, and the rest of the world dies, and their house is fine, and they can wish for whatever they want. They just get to live there, and it's a mystery about why they get chosen to be the last living humans on Earth.
See, that sounds good. So I'll have to check that out. Like the last series that I tried to get into, like you can always like. Anyone who says, "Oh, I can't find anything to read," it's like, okay, well, you're just looking at Marvel and DC. Like, hit up Image, hit up Dark Horse. I went over to Image, and I checked out Die.
Yeah, sure. Die's a great book.
I didn't. I stopped reading after Volume 1.
But did you play Dungeons and Dragons your whole life?
No.
That's why. Yeah,
I think that's why. I think that's actually what my friend said. Because the first issue, I think the first issue is like perfect, and it intrigued me. And then after that, it went so into the role playing aspects that I didn't understand the lingo.
Right.
But and they went through it so fast. I was like, wait, I need explanations, and they just kept going. And so, but my friend was like, oh, dude, like I played D&D my whole life. It was super easy for me to pick up, which sucked because I was like, this world's really cool. They all get a cool dice. The first issue was awesome. They also don't make a lot. I like thrillers and noir, and so like you can never go wrong with like Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips.
Sure.
And I try to read all the stuff that Sean Phillips' son does, like Jacob Phillips, and he does one with Chip Zdarsky, which I didn't like that one. He does this other one about this old town, and I didn't like that one. So I don't know if I'm like really picky. I did a whole video. I was like, I read all the noir books out that came out that month, and the only one I liked was Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips because they know how to tell a good story. But
I just want to go back to the Nice House of the Lake. What do you think of those covers?
Oh, I think they're great. Yeah,
I love them. I think that's something that I've never seen before. The way that they're drawn, or they look like you're Googling them right now, Tyler, right?
I am. I'm like, can I order this on Amazon?
They look like Polaroid's pictures.
It says
without
volume 1 of 1.
You don't have the white
No,
frame.
there's a
You
there's
just
a
have
volume.
the big flash on the. It looks like a cheap photo with a big flash on it. The spot of white on it. It's amazing how it's done.
No, it's a really fun book, and as the mystery unfolds, it gets better and better. It was really got you might like you. Did you like Scott Snyder? He's the one who brought you into comics. His Nocturna book is really good. The whole world shuts off.
No, I haven't. I stopped reading him after Metal because I hated Metal so much. So I'll have to.
That's because he was leaving. He wasn't trying anymore.
I can believe that. I'm looking at like its related items. I'm like the Good Asian. I'm like
Nocturna is that's the title that he ripped off from you, right?
Yes.
Okay. Out of respect, I never read it.
I'll have to check it out.
In our private group for Coins of Judas, a book came out this week called Hell's to Pay, and it's about coins and demons, flat out, by Charles Soules. So we had I was the person assigned to buy it, because I buy all comics, so it wasn't out of the realm of what was going to happen.
Well, because you're the one who has time to go out at the comic book store on a Wednesday morning.
Yeah, I know. We were like Roland did it in the morning, and then you were like, but a couple hours later, you're like, okay, I read it. We're like, what?
But I read like a small the synopsis of the book. It's mostly about student loans, more about student loans than sins and biblical stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of biblical stuff in it, but yeah.
Okay.
But it's. I mean,
but it seems to be like about people who have trouble paying their debts and.
Yeah. Basically, in hell there's a currency, and it's these coins. There's 666 of them, and they're on Earth. So if Coins of Judas doesn't work out well, we're gonna do 667 coins, and we'll trust it.
We're gonna price this right then.
Yep.
Also, I hear Comic Book Drama sells books, so it's hashtag Coin Wars. So I will go. I'll make a bunch of hate videos on Charles Soule until I get his attention, and then
you should probably read some of his stuff. He's more talented than me, so that's not going to work out so well.
Oh, then I'll just go, hey Charles, hire me because this Travis guy, he's trying to copy what you're doing.
10 billion genies, 8 billion genies is so good. You'll like that one too. So this one's about there's genies that come to Earth. Every person gets a genie, and you get one wish. But everyone's wish can counter other people's wishes, and everyone goes nuts, and they just vote. But the way it's told, Tyler, is it's told 8 seconds, 8 minutes, 8 hours, 8 days, 8 years. Like it's told in like these big groups of how insane the world gets with these wishes.
Interesting. That's interesting. Hey guys, I gotta bounce. My kid is just my wife's just like, I need help. The kid won't go to sleep. So
yeah, I think Tim's ready to. He's hiding his face for yawning a lot. So you want to wrap us up, Tim?
Yeah, we can wrap up. I should probably read off the order codes, huh?
Yeah,
That's a good idea. Let me go find those again. And,
you can go if you gotta go, Tyler. Go to your.
All right, I'm gonna bounce. Hey, it was awesome to talk with you guys. Travis, Jerome, I have 1, 2, 3 pages left. So I will have those done.
Well, I got a nasty message from our publisher. He wants them done tonight. I don't know.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
It wasn't Tim. It was Chris. So it's your
I'll do it. The faceless guy. I see why he doesn't show his face because he's just like work.
It's all Tim. He just when he needs to be aggressive, he just switches to.
He just switches over to Chris. No, I'm the good Asian. Trust me. I do good work. Okay. See you guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
There's a concept for another comic is an insane comic book publisher who just creates a whole bunch of different people behind the publisher, but they're all just him and the same person and a different personality.
Well, I just listened because I had to drive 8 hours to go pick up comics, and I listened to the Rise and Fall of CrossGen, and they talk about this guy. So he got everyone together, and he was running it like a tech company, and the comics people couldn't have it. Like Mark Waid was punching in the walls. On Mars tried to sleep with his wife, and then his wife died like suddenly of a heart attack.
Jeez.
And like that caused crazy tension because they found like emails when they searched through like so it was wild like how this thing fell apart because he didn't know how to run it like a comic company. He ran it like a a tech company.
Yeah, those tech bros really fuck everything up.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But they had $30 million. We wish we had $30 million.
Yeah, I know, that'd be real easy. All right, so I threw up the link to the previews, our own previews page. So that'll show you all the Band of Bards listings for this month. You can go in there and order it directly on the previews website. I've never done that myself before, but from what I gather, you basically say you want to pre-order it, and then it helps you find a comic shop that's right by you to actually physically pick it up. That's what I understand. I just go to my own comic shop now and tell them I would like everything on my pool. If you do go into your comic shop, let me share that real quick. Present. Share screen. As I talk to myself. There, it's probably easier. Push that guy up there. There's everything that we have listed currently on previews for this month. And you can see Coins of Judas with the 2 different color covers. Tyler did cover A, and Staniak did cover B. There is also a 1 in 20 incentive cover. So if a comic shop orders any combination of these 2, and at least 20 for every 20 that they order, they can also get a copy of this cover B in full foil. So encourage them.
Nice.
Yes. And we'll end up whatever we have to order to fulfill that incentive cover. We will order a handful more to sell directly through the Bard shop. So if your local comic shop doesn't bite on the incentive cover, you'll be able to get it through the Bard shop as well.
The other solution is no comic shop is going to frown upon you ordering 21 copies of comic. So if you want to order 21, the 20th thing stuff, just let me know.
Yeah, that's definitely one technique. But here's the order codes. Like every other month, it starts with the first 3 letters of the month and then the year. So NOV22 for November 22, and 1319 and 1320 would be the round out. Yeah, see, it's too late. I can't even speak anymore.
1319 and 1320.
Yes. NOV 22 1319, NOV 22 1320, and that will get you Coins of Judas.
It is weird that 1321 is in here.
That's the code for the 1 in 20.
Okay.
But because you can't just like.
I get you.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can't just go and order that as a regular customer. Only the retailer can order the incentives. That's not out there. Same thing with Vigia. There's a 1 in 20 incentive with that as well. So like it would be 1326.
And we're also going to do a contest. We haven't announced it yet. You don't even know about it yet, Tim. But me and Tyler are going to do it. Is the first person to collect all the covers, all the exclusives from the stores. If you get them all, Tyler's going to do a piece,
Nice.
exclusive piece for them, for that person. So you'll get your own custom piece if you buy all the covers. If you're the first person to let us know on social media, we'll get it to you.
And Tyler doesn't know about it yet.
He does not, actually.
Nice. Okay. I hate to abruptly end it, but I just got an EMS call that I think I should probably go to.
All right, do it.
Yeah. So thanks everybody for joining. Make sure you order all the Band of Bards comics, but especially Coins of Judas from this fantastic team. And we'll see you again a couple Fridays from now.
All right.
Night.
Thanks, Tim. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.